Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk to you about my updated favorite top 5 liquid foundations, and a lot has changed since the last year. My skin is different, so I have different foundations to share with you today. I still like the foundations from my last top 5. They're great foundations, but I did ask you guys on Facebook if you wanted to see a top 5 mascaras or a top 5 liquid foundations update, and you guys wanted to see this one first. So today I'm going to start with my favorite foundations of the moment. They are the two that I have been talking about quite a bit. I did discuss both in my last favorites video, so if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out because I do talk about the differences. At first, I didn't like the Dolce Gabbana Perfect Matte Liquid Foundation because I didn't feel that it was as matte as advertised. But the more I wear it, the more I like the powdery finish. The Hourglass Immaculate is definitely better for oilier skin. If you have very oily skin, this is definitely the first foundation, or liquid foundation in particular, that you should try just because it has a very powdery finish. As I've stated before, the D&G is better for normal skin because it doesn't dry you out as much. When I wear the Hourglass Immaculate, I have to make sure my skin is completely moisturized and well prepped, or else I will see dry patches around my nose where I do experience the most dryness. My skin has been really problematic for the last several months, and sometimes my acne calms down and other times it's completely flared up. For the most part, my cheeks and the rest of my skin is really fine. It's totally back to normal. My skin is still normal in every way, but I do have some hormonal breakouts on my chin. This cheek only, never this cheek, and a little bit up here. It's just, you know, little hormonal breaks here and there, but my skin is clearing up finally, and I have been wearing foundation a couple times a week again now, so I do want to share with you some other foundations because I have talked about the Hourglass and the D&G so much recently. I love the Limitier Classic Flawless Finish Foundation, and this is what I tend to use when I go out or when I'm going to be photographed because this particular foundation stays matte and it wears so long. It's the best all-around foundation I feel for performance just because it keeps my skin looking great, it does well with powder, and it just applies so beautifully. So if you like heavier coverage, then definitely check this one out, and I use the shade in number 6 here. So a new foundation that I've been trying is the Ellis Foss number S104L. This is a touch dark for me at the moment. It's probably going to be best when I get my tan back in the summer, but for this one I highly recommend you set with a powder if you have normal skin and you like a matte finish. If you have normal skin and you like a dewy finish, then I highly recommend you wear it alone. It has a gorgeous rich feel that dry skins will love as well, and it doesn't really cling to dry patches, which is what I love about this one, since sometimes my acne does dry out a little bit and my skin does get flaky, but this one doesn't seem to cling as much to the dry patches, so I highly recommend this. And on my skin, this feels like the older, discontinued Dior Forever Extreme foundation, except it's the dewier version and not matte. But I also love the Ellis Foss setting powder. It's in the compact like this, and it looks very light, but because this foundation is too dark for me at the moment, when I wear these two together, it's the perfect shade, so I love that. Now, last but not least is a foundation that I've talked a lot about before, and this is the Burberry Sheer Foundation in number 5, Trench. I adore this for a very natural finish, and this can be worn sheer to full coverage, and I feel like this is the most versatile of the bunch, and just like the Ellis Foss, this is great for normal to dry skin. And because someone always asks me which of the favorite is really my favorite, I would have to say the all-around winner would be the Limitier, just because there is SPF, it's just very low enough that it doesn't flash back in photos so you don't get the white ghost face, but the color suits me really well. It's hard to find a foundation that is yellow enough for me to suit my undertones, but this number 6 is perfect. I like how it's heavier, so it's long lasting, but it doesn't actually clog my pores. So I think this is a really great foundation, especially if you go to a lot of events or if you like to be photographed, then this is one that you should try. It applies really well with a blender, a beauty blender sponge, and for the most part I use a beauty blender sponge to apply all my foundations or my fingers. Sometimes I do use a brush, and I like to use the Tom Ford Cream Foundation brush, which has a small, dense head. Definitely invest in a good primer and a good foundation brush. But I also wanted to talk to you about my favorite primer. I have been wearing primer again, and I love Smashbox and Cover FX primers, but my favorite primer of all is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, and I raved about this when it was first released at Sephora years ago, and if you watched my videos back then, you will know how dedicated I was to this product. I stopped wearing foundation primer for a while just because I just didn't feel the need, but now that my skin is so problematic, every little bit helps, I think, at least when it comes to covering or reducing the redness. So I really love this Veil Mineral Primer. It's ideal for all skin types, and I like that it's a mineral-based product. And just before we get started with the tutorial, because I will show you how I apply my Hourglass Immaculate Foundation, I just wanted to recap with you really quickly just so that, you know, we clear the air. If you have normal to dry skin, check out the Burberry or the Ellis Foss. If you have oily skin, definitely check out the D&G or the Immaculate. I really like the shade range of D&G. I think they do a great job of distributing tones, and I use Natural Glow 100, which is a great color for me. But Hourglass Immaculate's shade range was also increased recently, so there are lots of shades to choose from. I used to use Ivory, but currently I use Nude. So this one if you have normal to oily skin, and this one if you have oily to very oily skin. And of course, these are all just guidelines and my personal recommendations. It really depends on what kind of finish you like. Even though I have normal skin, I really like matte finishes, so that's just my preference. I know there are lots of you out there that have normal skin or even oily skin that still like a dewy finish, so it just comes down to what you're looking for.
Now, I realize some of you may want more than just 5 suggestions, especially if you've tried the 5 that I've shown and they didn't work for you. So here are several more samples that you can pick up from counters and try for yourself and see if these work for your skin type.
If you currently happen to use the Lancome Tint Idole, the 24-hour longwear foundation that was featured in my last top 5 favorite liquid foundations video, then you might want to give this a try if you are looking for something new. And now, without any further ado, we'll get started with my natural matte skin makeup tutorial, and I will start with a moisturized base. I'm just gently massaging it into the skin, and it does leave a slight white cast in the beginning, but it will fade. And now that the primer is absorbed into the skin, I'm going to take my Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation, and now I'm just going to blend it in using a short, dense foundation brush. Now that my foundation has set completely, I'm just going to go ahead and cover my blemishes using the Hourglass Hidden Concealer in Natural. Now I'm just taking an eye brightener to counteract my slight darkness around the eye. Now I'm going to take my Hourglass Diffused Light with a flat top powder brush and just gently set my face. And there you have it. My complexion is complete. And now I'm just going to apply the rest of my makeup. So here I am with the rest of my makeup on. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. Just to let you know, the Hourglass Diffused has some shimmer particle in it, but it just brightens up the skin and it kind of gives you a soft diffused look, just like the name of the product, the Diffused Light Ambient Powder. And I really love the effect, even though I don't tend to like powders with shimmer in them. This one really helps to brighten up my skin. My skin doesn't look glittery, so that's what I really like about this setting powder. But bronzer is a must for me as usual. You guys know how much I love bronze skin. But going back to the foundations, I hope this video was what you were looking for. I wanted to be as brief as possible, but actually show you the product that I have been using most in action. And this is generally how I tend to wear my makeup these days. You know, this obviously is a heavier application. I have been wearing a lot more blush than usual, but I've been really loving blush because it helps my complexion look more awake. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions about the products, please feel free to list them down below in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. As always, a list of all the products used in this video and all the makeup that I'm wearing on my face now will be listed on my blog, RAEview.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!